Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Man, I hope everybody is having a blessed day of rest. I hope everybody has strived to enter into that rest. You know, it's been a little minute since a couple weeks since I've been able to give you a Shabbat message, but like I said, been doing some traveling due to work and just been out of my office, like I said, due to work. And we're currently on the back end of the storm that we received last Shabbat. So today, I hope I, give you something to edify you, give you a snapshot of the moral decay of marriage going on. First and foremost, let me say this. Marriage is a beautiful thing when it's done according to the will of the Most High Yah. Marriage by design is not easy, but it is worth it. I can tell you when I was living, my single life as a man, as a bachelor out there fornicating, that seems easy, but it does not lead to life and it is not worth it. Welcome to all in Shabbat Shalom, Israel. How to support the ministry. Hit the like button. Man, your like goes a long way. And I want to thank everybody that's been rocking with me. If it's your first time tuning in, hit that like button. So consider subscribing to the channel, turn your notifications on, and set them to all notifications. Share this video, on your social media, no matter what the platform, because there's people out there that need to hear this message. If you would like to give an offering or to donate, link is also in the description. Agenda. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. We are witnessing in real time the moral decay of marriage in America. Not because marriage no longer works, but because obedience to Yahweh has been rejected while entitlement has increased. Moral decay is a gradual erosion of virtue, honor, and righteousness, when what Yahweh calls holy is treated as optional, and what he forbids is normalized. In this generation, men and women desire the rewards of marriage without submitting to the requirements of marriage. Weak men like Ahab desire virtuous women like Ruth, Delilah expects of Boaz, and Jezebel are content with side arrangements rather than covenant. Meanwhile, righteous examples like Ruth and Boaz or Sarah and Abraham are becoming increasingly rare. Hasatan has not destroyed marriage outright. He has blurred its design, redefined gender roles, distorted provisions and submission, and convinced many that Torah no longer matters. Yet the judgment we see today in relationships are proof that Yahweh's instructions were never abolished. Today's teaching calls us to examine this decay honestly and return to honoring marriage the way the Most High commanded.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave like everyone else. You were born into bondage. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Why are we here today? Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. Work, Strong's number Hebrew 4399, employment, public business, occupation, industrious, public service. But the seventh day of the Sabbath of Yahweh, in it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahweh Elohim made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Exodus 31:13. Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily, my Sabbath you shall keep, for it shall be a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am Yahweh Elohim that doeth sanctify you. First and foremost, I want to talk about the fact that we have too many deceived people. And religion, keeps people complacent, keeps people comfortable, and it keeps them deceived. Too many doctrines out here. Just because you grew up in the church, are married, continue to go to church, and read your Bible does not automatically make you born again, a child of Yahweh, a good wife, or a good husband. First Peter chapter 1, verse 14. Live as obedient children of Yahweh. Do not be conformed to the evil desires which govern you in your ignorance before you knew the requirements and the transforming power of the good news regarding salvation. Luke chapter 11, verse 28. But he said, on the contrary, blessed, happy, favored by Yahweh are those who hear the word of Yahweh and continually observe it. People don't have a problem with hearing the instructions, hearing the requirements, hearing, the precepts pertaining to marriage. People have a problem obeying it. And this is where marriage falls apart. And this is the main reason we have so much moral decay today. Hey, everybody likes to say they got receipts. So I didn't have to go too far to find actual receipts. And I'm going to play this and I'm going to stop it and I'm going to talk about it after each clip, because this is some of the foolishness that people are bringing into relationships, i.e. marriage, and they wonder why they're suffering.
What do you do if your partner is amazing? Like, he's amazing emotionally, physically. Earlier this year, I had to have 2 brain surgeries. He stayed with me in the hospitals. He even washed my butt some of the times.
Damn.
But he wasn't working for a couple of months, and I'm 24 now. So I basically feel like I'm just real grown, and I just want to know, like, how long.
My name Johnny.
Let's back that up some. So basically, your partner, I hope this was your husband. Was good enough to be there when you're having these surgeries on your brain, wiping your butt. He's good enough to wipe your butt, but you're 24 and grown, and something seems a little off. Now he's not good enough. If this is a married woman talking like this, we got problems. This is that entitlement. You want somebody there to suffer for you, but yet you don't want to suffer or serve anybody else. Let's keep going.
And I just want to know, like, how long.
My name Johnny. How do you know when to leave the mother of your kids when she tells you you're not a provider, but she haven't worked in 3 years? And
what do you do?
Stop. Let's go ahead and stop that. Let's go ahead.
Like, he's long.
Leave the mother of your kids when she tells you you're not a provider, but she haven't worked in 3 years.
Wait a minute. Let me go back to this. So you mean to tell me that the only work that a man sees valuable a woman doing is outside the home? She's been raising your children. That is work. Society has blurred that line to where women think that, okay, if I'm not working in these streets out here competing with the world like a man, then I'm not working. No, the biblical wife, the Proverbs 31, man, this is a woman that was taking care of the house, rearing the children, doing her domestic duties. Although she had, her own business endeavors.
When to leave the mother of your kids when she tells you you're not a provider, but she haven't worked in 3 years, and I've been taking care of everything.
That's your job. That's your job, to provide the necessities, the basics, the basic provisions of life.
She tries to come back around because I told her about another woman.
So I've been dealing with a married man.
Let me tell you something. Right here is a major problem. Everybody's okay with being side chicks. I tell you today, see, here's the reality. Most women don't have a problem with what they call cheating. I like to speak in the terms of adultery, but they don't have a problem with cheating. See, they have a problem when, they're cheated on. But they have no problem being this woman, wrecking a man's house. This is the woman right here that's not going to keep your secret, men. And I'm telling you straight up like it is. You got to think, in the Bible, we see wives, we see concubines. Modern day translation, side chick of not a biblical status. You had men in the book that had concubines. And the Most High Yah never rebuked it. But today, nope, don't even understand the complexity of what I just said. But yet, listen to this. Look at the shame on her face. She's embarrassed to say it.
Don't get me killed.
That's why you're nervous, girl.
He's been with his situation for.
You mean your husband? He been with it. Let's go to this.
Don't get me killed.
That's why you're nervous, girl.
He's been with his situation.
What you mean situation? This is a married man. He's been with his wife. That's what she wanted to say. Can't make this up. Let's keep going.
Years.
Don't be trying to make it light by saying his situation. He's been married for 20 years. Go ahead.
I just want to know why it turns me on.
Am I wrong for
I can't make it up. I brought receipts. Okay, let's watch brother right here.
am I wrong for not wanting to be the provider?
What's your question?
What? This is the kind of stuff that's out here. And people think this stuff sounds good. This man said, am I wrong for not... Let me go to him. Let me go to this brother. For not wanting to be the provider. Tripping.
Am I wrong for not wanting to be the provider?
What's your question?
I meet people.
Man, I'm going to say this also. Man, we live in a... I say that comment for later because I think it's coming up. Let me go to this. This is foolishness.
What's your question?
I meet people from everywhere. I've seen the world, but for some reason, I still can't find love. Not love that's like genuine. Someone who don't want me for the benefits. I have a really
And she didn't see the problem.
with whom I had a sexual encounter with long before I got married. I shared the information with my husband, and now every time I hang out with that friend, he assumes we're hooking up. How can I get my husband to see that we're truly friends and nothing else?
What? What? I tell you, some of these people need a spiritual rear end whooping. That's what they need. Moral decay. By definition, a gradual negative shift in collective morality, often described as a rotting of social norms. Biblical moral decay is the loss of righteous standards over time. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Woe, judgment is coming to those who call evil good and good evil, who substitute darkness for light and light for darkness, who substitute bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Man, I want you to understand, when unrighteous agreement replaces covenant, marriage decays. When entitlement replaces obedience, marriage collapses. Where is the honor? Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is to be held in honor among all, that is regarded as something of great value, and the marriage bed undefiled by immorality or by any sexual sins. For Yahweh will judge the sexually immoral and the adulterous. Honor, Greek word 5093, valuable, esteemed highly, precious, beloved. See, marriage is sacred, covenantal, and governed by instruction. Dishonor invites judgment, confusion, and instability. Let's talk about vernacular and some of these expectations, some of the terminology today, because oftentimes single men and women say a lot of things. I want a modern man, a modern woman, a traditional man, traditional woman. I want a biblical marriage, but we're going to break this down. Women today want the benefit of a traditional man, but with modern rules. Men today want the submission of a traditional woman, but with modern rules. Single Christian men and women say they want a godly husband or wife while continuing to live in rebellion and idolatry. See, some people want a modern marriage. What is that? Modern. Some people want a traditional marriage, okay? Some people want a biblical marriage. Those set apart strive for a righteous marriage. You got to understand there's all kind of examples of marriages in the book. Not all of them are a good example. But when you have people that don't understand Torah, that don't obey the word, they end up being like Delilah and Samson. They end up being like Jezebel and Ahab. Mark chapter 7, verse 7 through 8. They worship me in vain. Their worship is meaningless and worthless. A pretense, teaching the precepts as men as doctrines, giving their traditions equal weight with the scriptures. So you got to understand, you have people today that don't understand righteousness, have no comprehension of what a biblically righteous relationship or marriage is based upon tradition. So you institute all this types of evil into the marriage, all this types of idolatry. You done brought all kind of witchcraft and warlock behavior in there, and you wonder why you ain't experiencing no blessing. You wonder why y'all in there fighting like cats and dogs. Ain't nobody been filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. No matter how you phrase it, if it's not about righteousness, it ain't worth a dang to the Most High Yahweh. You can spin it and call it a situationship, whatever you want, modern, traditional. If it ain't about righteousness, it ain't worth a dang to the Most High Yah. Lawless and unchanged. That's the state. And this is why there's so much moral decay of marriage today. Too many single men are praying for a virtuous wife, but really need to pray for transformation in their own life. Let that marinate. Let me cook. Too many single women are praying for a virtuous husband, but really need to be praying for transformation in their own life. Let it sizzle. Too many married men are praying for their wife to change when they can't even see their own wickedness. See, you read in the book from a carnal spirit, not being filled with the Ruach HaKodesh. So the stuff that really pertains to you and should be cutting you deep and rebuking you, you ignore because you in there cherry picking, wanting the blessings. Too many married men are praying, too many married women are praying for their husbands to change and refuse to see their own wickedness. Very common. You come into the knowledge of the truth and all of a sudden you got to divorce your husband. We're going to talk about it. Romans chapter 12, verse 2, and do not be conformed to this world any longer with its superficial values and custom. There it is right there. But be transformed and progressively change. There should be people talking about, oh, you think you holier than thou. You must think you perfect. Don't the book say strive for perfection? Transformed and progressively. Don't mean you're going to be perfect overnight, but you should be working towards it. Progressively change as you mature spiritually. Folk ain't maturing spiritually. They're maturing wickedly by the renewing of your mind, focusing on godly values and ethical attitudes, so that you may prove to yourself what is the will of Yahweh, is that which is good and acceptable and perfect in his plan and purpose for you. Lawless and unchanged. Duty of marriage. Too many single men and women today say they desire marriage, but ultimately want the blessings of marriage while rejecting the servitude of their function as a wife or as a husband. Too many men and women only relate to the feeling of love rather than the actions of love outlined in the scrolls. Man, when you're reading about the duty of marriage, you've heard people say marriage is about duty and purpose. Man, it's about servitude. How you fulfill that function in marriage is your honorable service unto the Most High Yah. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22, wives, be subject to your own husbands as a service to the master. How is it we got so many educated women when it comes to these things of basic English words, our comprehension gets thrown off all of a sudden. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25, husbands, love your wives, seek the highest good for her, and surround her with caring, unselfish love, just as Hamashiach also loved the ecclesia and gave himself up for her. That's the problem. You don't want to give yourself up for nothing. I know this is going to sting, but folk need to be cut deep. Let some of that bad blood leave up out of you so you can be purified by the blood of Hamashiach. Man, the Most High Yah calls for us to be upright. Listen to what I said. The Most High Yah calls for us to walk upright, to walk in righteousness. The problem is, man, most people, man, they treat marriage today, their partner, like they treat cars. Trade them in every 2 years and go get something from that used car lot, because that's oftentimes what you get, thinking that grass is greener on the other side. Rather than, I want you to realize all of these cars out here today have manufacturer defects and recalls. So that's another way of me saying ain't nobody out here perfect. You're going to have to make the investment. But if you don't invest, you don't get the benefit. People are upside down spiritually. Hypocrisy today. Jezebel's crave Boaz. Lawless, rebellious, rejects covenant. Delilah expects an Abraham. Deceptive, manipulative, self-serving, expects protection. Ahab, he want a roof. Passive, weak, passive, non-assertive leadership, expects virtue. But you don't want to lead, you don't want to rebuke, you don't want to correct, you don't want to. We see in the book, he did not wash Jezebel with the word. He just went along with the flow. Happy wife, happy life. See, unrighteous men expect a Sarah, religious, unbeliever, worship idols, sexually immoral. Same thing, unrighteous women expect a Moses, religious, good leader. You know, they want Moses for that. But at the end of the day, religious, unbeliever, worshiper of idols, sexually immoral. They don't go together. They don't go together. And a lot of people have been deceived by a state-issued marriage license and take advantage of because of this right here, hypocrisy. You expect the righteousness of the book, but you just set the term to where you ain't got to live it. Righteous examples, Ruth and Boaz, sexual restraint, patience, covenant loyalty. Sarah and Abraham, order, submission, endurance through testing. The book says Sarah honored Abraham by calling him master. Modern translation in your Bible, Lord. Genesis 18:19, for I have known, chosen, acknowledged him as my own, so that he may teach and command his children and the son of his household after him to keep the way of the master by doing what is righteous and just, so the master may bring upon Abraham what he has promised him. Man, that's structure, that's order, that's obedience, that's righteousness, that is moral uprightness. We got a lot of righteous examples in the book, but when you reject obedience to the Most High Yah and you're not striving for spiritual maturity in marriage or as a single man or woman, you're going to end up being a lot of these characters that was not righteous. I saw a video the other day of a person trying to make it seem like Rahab the harlot was righteous in everything she did. No, she still was a harlot. She was righteous in what you look at Hebrews 11. She was righteous in that act, but that don't mean she wasn't still getting smashed out for money. And this is the stuff Hasatan is trying to blur the lines. I've seen folk try to make Jezebel seem like folk need to be following her, like folk need to be following Ahab. Can't make this up. What we see today, what we are seeing today proves the moral decay of marriage. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. But I want you to understand that Hamashiach is the head, authority of every man, and the man is head of the woman, and Yahweh is the head of Hamashiach. You know, what we see today is women want marriage where they are in charge, the head. You want this subservient man, but you want him to have all of the qualifications and attributes of a biblically righteous man, and he ain't going for it. Men, you know, today who let women lead the family to Sheol because you sit up and refuse to lead. You want to be a passive leader. I tell you, man, everybody wants you to think that they got the truth. But when the Most High Yah reveals his wisdom to you and give you understanding, most people can't stomach it. Most men and women cannot stomach it. Single or unmarried. I'll tell you why. Married men. One reason why. Once the Most High Yah reveals to you in truth what it is you should be doing, it's plain as day in that word. You cannot sit back and be passive while your doggone family, your household is running wickedly. You got an obligation spiritually to say something, to correct it. For everybody for your children's salvation's sake, for your wife's salvation's sake. But what's crazy is, you know, you have women that enjoy a subservient man that they done scared him to hell to where if he say something, he feel like he gonna get his head bit off. I tell you, I'm not budging from my square. All this can burn down, but I'm standing on this word. I'm standing on this righteousness. Hamashiach turned around and said, man, if you're not willing to hate your mother, your father, your wife, your children, even your own life, you ain't worthy of being my disciple. See, the problem we have is too many men want to be wives. Let me say that again. Too many men want to be wives, want to be pretty, want to be beautified, want to be sissified, instead of laboring with these hands. Too many women want to be husbands. You're doing a good job at being a provider. It's only one problem. It ain't your function. Folk get canceled for talking like this. But this is a regular occurrence over here. You do a good job as a man, being a wife, but that ain't your function. You can't mix and match. You can't faux for this thing. If the Most High Yah outlined it as your function as a husband or as a wife, that's you to own it. You got to take some ownership on it. At the end of the day, man, when you face judgment as a man or a woman, I don't give a dang what the delusional world is sitting up here talking about. I don't know if y'all saw that video of that man asking that doctor, what is a man? Can a man get pregnant? And the foolishness, this is how Hasatan is blurring the line. Want people confused. When you are at the judgment seat of a Mashiach, standing there as a man, Most High Yah is not sitting up there going for this foolishness we see in the day. Well, I don't identify as this, and well, I know I'm a man, but I'm a wife. I know I'm a wife, but I'm really the husband. Most High ain't going for none of that. It ain't gonna make it past Hamashiach. There's a standard that has to be followed. Everybody want to love God until we get to the book, until we start holding the feet to the fire to the standard. Everybody want to reinvent the will. The Most High Yah didn't give you no bad will when it came to his instructions for marriage. Expectations of blessings, entitlement. This one is off the chain. Too many men have gone unchecked taking a wife while not obeying the word themselves, and too many women have deceived men into thinking they are virtuous while rejecting the character of the righteous biblical wives. We got deadbeats out here. You taking a wife because you want booty. That's what you want. You want booty. You want to feel them nice legs rub up against you in the bed. You want them cooked meals. You want your clothes clean. But yet, you don't want to get out there and work. She got to tell your butt to get off that video game because you're hooked on Call of Duty and 2K. It's going to cut you deep. This is happening out here. Deuteronomy 28, verse 1 through 2. Now it shall be if you diligently listen to and obey the voice of the Master your Yahweh, being carefully to do all his commandments, which I am commanding you today, the Master your Yahweh will set you high above all the nations of earth, and all these blessings will come unto you and overtake you if you pay attention to the voice of your Master Yahweh. Be careful to do and obey. This details the blessings for obedience. The problem is, with marriage today, we ain't got no obedience. You done brought in all this stuff of the world and just said, we just gonna kind of do it our way. Have it your way. That ain't gonna work for righteousness. The Most High Yah don't bless you based upon you doing it your way. Hamashiach didn't come to do it his way. He came to do the will of the Father. Lawless men want helpmeets. Wicked women want faithful providers. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Do not be deceived. Yahweh is not mocked. He will not allow himself to be ridiculed, nor treated with contempt, nor allow his precepts to be scornfully set aside. For whatever a man sows, this and this only is what he will reap. I don't believe in no karma. I believe in reaping and sowing. And if you ain't sown no seeds in righteousness, don't expect no blessings. You get what you get. That joker you got, and you talk about how bad he is, and you ain't obeying the word of Yah, he probably a dud because you a dud. That woman you say she's worthless, and you want her to change, and you refuse to look at your own wickedness, hey, the reason is you a dud. Ecclesiastes 26:23. A wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. What did I say? Where did I tell a lie? That's what you get. You're a wicked woman and you praying and hoping, but you're really gambling. And you're going to lose every time. You ain't finna get no Boaz out here acting like a Jezebel, out here acting like a Delilah. You ain't about to get no Boaz. You old Ahab. You ain't about to get no doggone Sarah. Your leadership and righteousness don't qualify you for one. Listen to this. But a godly woman is given to him that feareth Yahweh. Man, woo. That's the prerequisites. Confusion of role, boy. Confusion of roles. Men demanding submission while desiring to split the responsibility of providing. You see these men, they want to go 50-50. Let's go 50-50 on these bills, but I want 100 of what you supposed to be providing. And it sucks because there's sisters out there going for it. 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. Listen to this. If anyone fails to provide for who? His. I know some men read and they say his and hers. No, that's his own. And especially for those of his own family. I got to put some emphasis on this. He has denied the faith. Who has denied the faith? He. By disregarding his precepts, and is worse than an unbeliever who fulfills his obligation in these matters. Man, when it comes to provide, man, that's basic provisions. You look at the etymology of that word, provide, that's basic necessities to live, to thrive. That's not Birkin bags, that ain't red bottoms, that ain't Jordans, that ain't name brand. Man, that's necessity, that's basic substance. You got a man that say he's a Christian, he love the Most High, I got a relationship with God. God knows my heart, and he want to go against this. He's a straight dud. This word says he's an unbeliever. I'm telling you what you're going to get, but you just hoping and praying that he ain't going to be. Nope, he's an unbeliever. Women demanding abundance while rejecting submission. He got to be this, have that, make this much, be this size, be this wide, be this tall, sexually got to have this kind of package. all demanding abundance while rejecting submission. And you could truly be blessed as a woman with submission to the Most High. Submission to the Most High Yahweh comes before you submit to your husband. But we got a lot of women that's unbelievers. They want to go around. You can't go around. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22 to 24. Wives, be subject to your own husband. Subject as a service to the master. It's your servitude. For the husband is the head of the wife, as the Mashiach is the head of the church, himself being the savior of the body. Submitting to your husband is your salvation as a married woman. But as the church is subject to a Mashiach, so also wives should be subject to their husbands in everything, respecting both their position as protector and their responsibility to Yahweh as head of the house. You can't be an obedient woman of the Most High Yahweh while disrespecting and disobeying your husband if he's telling you righteousness. You can't. Sexual immorality. Let's talk about this for a second. Younger women giving their bodies without covenant to the lowest bidder. Joker just smelled good and bought you some Subway, and you didn't give him 3-4 babies. Youth introduced to fornication earlier every generation. Man, you look every 10 years, the age of losing their virginity for men and women is getting lower and lower. We got babies out here having babies. Oh, I like you and I think I love you. I'm just saying, outside of marriage, anybody that you done told you love, you had no idea what the flip you talking about. You got people today that enter into marriage and swear up and down they love their husband, swear up and down they love their doggone wife, and won't do right by them. You have no idea what love is. Got that old actionless love. That love that's going to have you homeless and hungry. You can't make this stuff up. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18 through 19. Run away from. See, the problem is we don't want to run away from that song, Running Like a Track Star. Don't nobody want to run away from it. They want to tiptoe around it. Keep it in the vicinity. No, run away from it. From sexual immorality, any form, whether thought or behavior, whether visual or written. Every other sin that a man commits is outside the body, but the one who is sexually immoral sins against his own body. You're doing damage to yourself. Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh who is within you, whom you have received as a gift from Yahweh, and that you are not your own property? People entering into, these side agreements, entering into the marriage with defiled temples, and you don't think it's going to be problematic? No, you're going to need some deliverance from this. But guess what? You didn't plan on living right no way. You just wanted the blessing. So guess what you don't go searching for? Deliverance, healing, transformation. A lot of women today will never marry. Let me dive in on this one. Let me dive in on this one. This is what you call spiritually stole off on. A lot of women today will never marry because you had a worthless, religious daddy who allowed you to whore yourself out at an early age, refused to rebuke you in order to keep you pure, and now your mindset is jacked up spiritually. No man of worth wants you. Take heed. You think you got a daughter and all you got to do is feed, clothe her, and provide her shelter. No, you got to protect her. Some doggone straight vulture birds out here as men. Just want to get their doggone penis wet and leave her out to dry. Sirach chapter 7, verse 24 through 25. If you have daughters, this is an instruction for fathers. If you have daughters, keep them virtuous. Well, I think, I don't want to be too strict and the way the world is going and, just let them have fun. You know what that fun is equal to? What it translates to? Getting dicked down and whored out. Getting busted down and clapped around. Keep them virtuous and don't be too indulgent with them. When you give your daughter in marriage, you have finished a great task, but give her to a sensible man. Fathers, man, take heed to this. Because once she get out there and get all jacked up and a lot of times it's willfully. We're dealing in a generation where you got these women that when they exhaust their resume of what they say qualities they have, they sound like men. And guess what? Men don't want them. A father somewhere has allowed them to whore themselves out rather than to rebuke, correct, and wash them with the word. And to protect them. Father's job is to run these deadbeats off. To run them off. Everybody want benefits. Everybody want the benefits of marriage without commitment. Women desire provision. I want that good male provider. I want to be protected, but I don't want to obey. I don't want to submit. I want to be out here with my side dude and want my husband to come protect me. Need your rear end whooped. Status. You want that status change. Title changing from single to married. You want to be called wife. You want to go from Miss to Mrs. Sirach chapter 26 verse 16. The beauty of a good wife in her well-kept home is like noonday sun shining in the Lord's sky. Titus chapter 2 verse 5. To be sensible, pure, makers of a home where Yahweh is honored, good-natured, being subject to their own husband, so that the word of Yahweh will not be dishonored. Let's keep going. Men, I'm on you next. Men defiling women without fulfilling the duty of a husband. Let's raise your hand. Most men leave home, and what do? You looking for busted down Tatiana. You ain't looking for no doggone Sarah. Why? You can't even find Sarah. Because the wickedness in you won't even allow you, like it said, the wicked woman is going to get the wicked man. The man that feared the Most High is going to get the good godly wife. Parents, you better call it out. Because this is what this current generation is cooking up. Hasatan gonna do a number on your children. If you don't set the example, you gotta understand. Let me give you an example. Men, you are going to struggle with being a husband if your father wasn't a husband and did not lay a foundation of what being a husband looked like. You gon' struggle. You gon' have to take heed to the book. You can't afford to disobey nothing and to reject it. Well, I don't agree with it. You're gonna fall flat on your face. Same thing, women. If your mother struggles as a wife or never was a wife, how can she groom you to be something she wasn't? You're gonna struggle. Like a lot of them are. This stuff generational. You need to take heed to the book. You cannot afford to be out here rejecting stuff that make your, well, according to my understanding, I don't think submit mean that. I don't think, shut up. Most sexually immoral men don't want to meet a woman's daddy. Listen to what I'm saying. Sexually immoral men don't want to meet a woman's daddy because if he's worth his weight in gold, he gonna run that dud straight up out of there. Or he gonna say, hey, no, you ain't putting your little crusty dang-a-lang in my doggone daughter. No, you need to pay a bride's price. See, some daddies will willfully allow a man to fornicate with their daughter and don't say jack. Sitting up at the table, y'all in there eating Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for this and I'm thankful for him dicking my daughter down, and you don't say nothing. And then you ask your daughter, well, what happened to Tyrone? We just went our separate way and Tyrone had left you with that freaking baby. I'm speaking on it. Women who don't submit to the authority of their father are the ones being sexually immoral. You out here trying to evade and sneak around your doggone daddy. He's the one protecting you. Lawless men target women who are uncovered or reject their covering. This is how this stuff go on. Exodus chapter 22, verse 16. Let's see what the Torah said. Let's see what the law says. If a man seduces a virgin, high price, hot commodity, if a man seduces a virgin who is not betrothed, engaged for marriage, and lies with her, he must pay a dowry. That makes them seem like property. She is property. That's the reality of it. Didn't the book say you are not your own? You was bought with a price. He must pay a dowry, a marriage price, for her to be his wife. That's law. Babies of adultery. We are seeing more married women have a baby by the side dude, and when they find out the side dude is worthless, they gaslight the husband into taking care of another man's baby when she is actually an adulterer. Women need to understand 99% of the time, the side dude only wants sex without responsibility of being husband. I saw a video of a dude, he was like, man, I'm gonna be the side dude and I'm gonna let him pay all the bills. You're gonna burn, you're gonna burn, you're gonna burn. I'm telling you, see, people don't talk about some of these people are so far gone. Like, okay, let me give you an example. When you look in Revelations, Jezebel was so far gone, the Most High gave her the opportunity to repent and she repented not. That's when I say you're going to burn, you're going to burn. Sirach chapter 23, verse 23 to 25. The same is true of a woman who is unfaithful to her husband and presents him with a child by another man. This is book. This is book. People want to go ask plum fools what they think. What do you think I should do? People up here taking advice from people that don't even keep Torah. In the first place, she has broken the law of the Most High. In the second place, she has wronged her husband. And in the third place, see, this don't say, well, he made me feel a kind of way and that's why I did it. No, I ain't got no room for that. She has wronged her husband. In the third place, she has made a whore of herself. So they think the way that I'm speaking sounds harsh. Read the tone of this. She has made a whore of herself by committing adultery. That ain't me saying that. That's the word. And bearing the child of a man, not her husband. The children will suffer for her sin. You wonder why them children ain't gonna be worth a jack. It's jokers out there today that's done this right here, and the children don't amount to anything. They will not be able to find a place in society or establish families. She herself will be brought before the assembly. Side contract, modern culture glorifies side chicks. See, in the Bible, we don't read about no side chicks. The Most High Yah recognizes concubines, side dudes, adultery, situationship, girlfriend and boyfriend. How y'all living up under somebody else's roof, somebody paying for you, and you got the nerve to have a girlfriend and boyfriend? Entanglements, sneaker links. Proverbs 5, chapter 3, verse 5. For the lips of the strange woman drop as honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil, but her end is as bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps take hold on hell. This stuff sound good. It sound real smooth, but it ain't book. Let's get into this one. Married prostitutes. Yah forbid a man correct his wife and wash her with the word, because she has the mindset of a prostitute, and it shows in how she presents herself to the world. See, men get counseled for speaking like I'm speaking, but where is the line what I'm saying? Proverbs chapter 7, verse 10 through 12. And there a woman met him dressed as a prostitute and sly and cunning of heart. She was boisterous and rebellion. She would not stay at home. At the time, she was in the streets. That's where the saying "in the streets" come from. At the time, in the marketplaces, lurking and setting her ambush at every corner, setting a trap. She was for the streets. Look at this. You got the bishop on your left-hand side. Says, man, I bought my wife this nude colored lingerie looking dress. You got this joker on the right. He just recently came out and said why he divorced her for posting thirst traps. And guess what? He went and did. Married a woman doing the same thing, posting them thirst traps. Marriage table empty. You got these folk out here today. What do you bring to the table? And I'm going to show you. The popular question people are asking today is, what do you bring to the relationship table? Oftentimes asked by people who are not courting to marry, just out here fornicating. This is what you're likely to get out of them. No virtue, no discipline, no obedience to Yah. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 4 through 5. For by these he has bestowed on us his precious and magnificent promise of impressible value, so that by them you may escape the immoral freedom that is in the world because of disreputable desire, and become sharers of the divine nature. For this very reason, applying your diligence to the divine promises, making every effort in exercising your faith to develop moral excellence, virtue, and in moral excellence, knowledge, insight, and understanding. Look at this. You got a man and a woman, and ain't nothing on the doggone table. And this is oftentimes what a lot of men and women get. A lot of single men trying to take a wife ain't bringing nothing. And vice versa. Women looking for a husband, you end up with these duds. Why? Because you ain't walking in righteousness. You ain't using discernment. And then you sit up here and give marriage a bad rap because you don't know what the heck you doggone supposed to be doing or the heck you talking about. It's happening every day. Everybody's smiling and cheesing. But you know what ain't on that table? Virtue, obedience, servitude to the Most High Yah. A man and a woman understanding they function. A man and a woman not trying to recreate their function. Lawlessness is doctrine. So many people that claim to be religious or grew up in the church are submitting to ear-tickling doctrines that are not of Yahweh, concluding that the law or Torah of Yahweh is done away with. Men and women, single and married, must understand marriage is a beautiful thing in righteousness, but it's painful outside the covenant of righteousness. There are consequences and repercussions for your rebellion, both inside and outside of marriage. You got folk out here living in fornication, talking about, well, I really don't want to get married. Well, burn then. It's better to marry. Paul said it's better to marry than to burn in lust. And then you got these people that's in marriage that's religious as all get out, but don't even want to do right according to righteousness. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 through 18. Do not think that I come to do away or undo the law of Moses or the writings of the prophet. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For I assure you and most solemnly say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or stroke of the pen will pass from the law until all things which it foreshadows are accomplished. Weighty. This is what I really want to get to right here. This is it right here. A lot of folks rush out of marriage because they married to an unbeliever. They rush out of marriage. They go down there and file that paperwork, get divorced on paper, according to the state, under the state, because they say, well, I'm married to an unbeliever. My husband, I got saved and my husband is a piece of trash. I got saved and my wife is a piece of trash. But I guarantee at one point y'all was both unbelievers. People don't take that into account. Message. Here's the reality. Two unbelievers get married, and whomever gets the truth of the Most High first is the first one to bail, saying they were not equally yoked or grew apart. They were equally yoked in sin through fornication prior to marriage, though. But y'all loved each other when y'all was in there living unrighteousness. Y'all didn't have no problem. Y'all was in agreement with y'all unbelief. Y'all was so religious you fooled yourself. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 14. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified, that is, he receives the blessings granted through his faithful and obedient wife. And the unbelieving wife is sanctified through her believing husband. How many men and women want to stand in the gap like this? See, the problem is, like I said, you get so focused on the transformation of somebody else that you don't even allow the Most High Yah to work. Like the Most High Yah had to work on you in order for you to get saved. So all of a sudden, since you got it, you want the Most High Yah to put a rush order on it for you. No, stay in there for 10, 15 years while the Most High Yah is working on your doggone husband or wife. Let's see people live up to this. Nope. Running down to that courthouse. He won't do what I tell him to do. I'm the one saved. You're really wicked. That's what it is. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion have light with darkness? Y'all was equally yoked at one point. Conclusion. It must be said plainly. The decay of marriage in America is the fruit of rejecting Yahweh's instruction while demanding his blessing. Men want submission without provision. Women want provision without submission. And both want covenant rewards without covenant discipline. Sexual immorality is normalized. Youth is sacrificed. And side relationships are celebrated. All while marriage, the very institution Yah established, is dishonored. Hasatan has succeeded not by eliminating marriage, but by redefining it until obedience looks unnecessary and holiness looks extreme. Yet Yahweh has not changed. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. His design still stands. His store still governs blessings and judgments, and marriage will only flourish again when men and women return to righteousness, responsibility, and the reverence for his word. If we desire marriage like Ruth and Boaz or Sarah and Abraham, then we must reject the spirit of Ahab, Delilah, and Jezebel, and once again hold marriage in honor, as Yahweh commanded. I'm here today to tell you, as men and women, marriage ain't easy, but it's worth it. But it's worth it. Why? It's righteous. You got protection. I don't give a dang how what you got going on. Freaking the sheets. I don't give a dang how sexy, how bad of a dude you think you are. If you living in fornication, you're going to find out in the end, it ain't worth it. Keep running from marriage if you want to. I'm telling you, keep running from it. See, the reality is, man, we don't operate in a mindset or a state of mind, spiritually, mentally, physically being disciplined according to righteousness. And you go from harlot and whoremonger behavior and enter into marriage, and you think, your marriage sexually is supposed to be a P. Diddy party. Who raised you? Who raised you? Glory to the King. The King is coming. Turn from your sins. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Bow.